Of Bitcoin without any of my trend lines to start out with, just to get a good idea of the price action. On the monthly, actually, let's just start with the monthly. So seen, of course, and of course, I think it's good to look at the log on the monthly as well to start out with. So from the log chart, we can see that we have a clear bull trend here, right? High, low, higher high, potentially higher low, and now we're going to see what happens here. My guess is that we're going to see some sort of consolidation here, where we have a lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low maybe again, and then we start moving up. Because we just need a bit of a breather from this monster move over here of 33 bars. So that's 33 months. That's a long time to be in a bull market. If we look at this, we see it's a 5,600% jump, which is just insane. And it just goes to reason that after, let's just see exactly where this started from. This was consolidation. We started pumping from here. So this was 28 bars. We've seen 28 bars of pushing up, and now we see just 11 bars coming down. I think that it's quite likely that we will see a little bit more consolidation. I mean, if we look at this whole thing, we see it's 23 bars. For 28 bars of pure pump, I think it's very reasonable for us to see a similar amount of time even in consolidation. Now, normally the consolidations are shorter lasting than the moves up, and it is possible that is the case here. But I think that because the move is so explosive, it's going to require a bit more calming down of the market, and you can see that the volume has just completely died off here. So that's why I'm not sort of leaning towards the fact that the possibility that we're going to start pumping from here. I think it's more likely that we consolidate a bit more. Now, we could start looking at some trend lines. I guess this one is relatively notable. It's the previous highs over here. But yeah, I mean, we're a ways away from that, so I don't know how relevant that is really. If we look at, we can pretty much trace this hole in a. There we go. Right. Whoops. So this would have been an interesting way to catch the previous high, actually. If we just let's do it this way. 1 second. There we go. So we take the previous support over here. You can see we're following it quite strictly. So we're connecting this to lows. Okay, so this is this is not really doing what I want it to do. 1 second, let's just close this. Yeah, well, it's no big deal. Okay, anyway, so we take this low over here of the candle, and we take that low over there, and then we try to extrapolate. Okay, so it wouldn't have been ideal. It would have told us that we should be going up to 31,000. Yeah, we were pretty far from that. 20,000. Yeah, so we were quite far from that 35,000 mark. Now, of course, I usually, to be honest, I take extremes. I don't know if this would have done much difference. No, it would have been even worse. So from that perspective, you can see that the market is starting to consolidate over here because, yeah, well, because it's trending just sort of more in a downwards sloping area. We're not trending upwards anymore, clearly. But as you can see clearly from this log chart, we are, well, first of all, we have potential for support right here. There's nothing stopping us from having a wick pushing down here. Again, this is not, religious support. It does have both extremes quite nicely here. Let's have a look at the weekly, see if we can get this a little bit more precise. But before we do, well, I mean, since we're still in the log chart, we can keep this in mind. So yeah, we're touching the low here, and we're touching that low there, and now we're seeing some sort of grinding. And so, yeah, I suppose that from this perspective, certainly one could reasonably expect to see a move up here before seeing a move down. So there is certainly something telling us that we might find support there on the monthly, but of course we also have to consider that this is bullish, but we had a long bearish phase here, and now, like, let's have a look at that. Let's compare this bearish phase, which lasted, let's say it went all the way to here before we started making any difference. That was 60 bars, okay? And from that 60 bars, we've had just 22 bars pushing us up, right? And now we're having what looks like a pretty extended pullback of 24 bars. So those ratios are more bearish, right? Why? Because we're spending a longer time coming down, and we're coming down with more volume than we're going up. And these moves down are quite impulsive, right? So we have boom, consolidation, boom, consolidation. Now, if you compare that to the bullish moves up here, the consolidation was like boom, tiny little consolidation, boom, tiny little consolidation, boom, tiny consolidation. So this is quite a change in market structure, notable change in market structure over here, where we really start showing some very strong bearish action. Now, the caveat is that, yes, we have shown the same thing from the bullish side here. This is why the bulls are excited now, because this is the first time for a while that we've seen this kind of bullish action, which is reminiscent of these previous periods over here, right? So I'm specifically talking about, oops, this is not working for some reason, about this over here, being very similar to, oh Jesus, on the log chart this goes crazy. But anyway, the point is that it's similar to these moves up here, and that for that reason we might expect another leg up. But because of this change in market structure, I'm not nearly as confident as I was here. And also because of this pullback structure. So the pullback structure, even on the monthly, you can see that it's gone beyond the complex pullback. So we have one leg down, a second leg down, and now a third leg down. So this isn't typically, a solid entry point on a pullback structure. So certainly, after the second leg down, there can be many entries. And as you see, we had a nice big bullish candle, but we just took all of that action out. So now the bulls are really hoping more than anything that we're going to start moving up from here. And this trend line support on the monthly, yeah, there's something to be said about it, certainly. I'm still betting on, right now, I'm still betting on Bitcoin hitting approximately 5,000 to 6,000 ranges, and maybe just having a wick down here, which is super common for these trend lines to just have like a wick down. And also, of course, it's very important to note that horizontal trend lines are much more relevant than diagonal trend lines. And the horizontal trend line, as you can see here, the most notable one by far, is about this 5,800 over here. And so, yeah, I just think it's more likely than not that we will see another move down and then reevaluate from there about what's going to happen. Okay, so now let's get rid of that. We're on the weekly, so let's now go to the auto, go back to the monthly. I don't know if the monthly is really valid, really worth looking at, but I mean, we can have a look at the price action nonetheless. Why not? So, but it's just the recent move. So we had a very powerful move up here. You can still see it actually. It's just the previous, when we get sort of below 300, that things start to get a little bit warped without the log. Oh, we are still, yeah. See, well, even things get warped below 3,000 even. So the log showed us a lot of price action below 3,000, but above 3,000, we're only seeing the relevant price action on the monthly without log. So here we can see a nice powerful move up, larger and larger candles. Here there was some indecision with more bearish pressure than anything else. Inside bar, and then bam, bearish pressure coming down, very clearly telling us that the momentum is bearish. We tried to come back up, failed, had a lot of indecision over here. Bam, another bearish bar, taking out the previous lows, creating a new lower low, creating a new lower high. So really nothing bullish at all about this move down. The only thing that can be said for this is, of course, is that we are in a pullback structure like so, and well, we'll draw this on the lower time frames, but basically that we might find some support, for example, down here at 5.5. But now, and of course, this is an inside bar. This is the 1st of December, so we're 12th of December now. We could very easily go up to 8.5 before coming down. So really not a lot to be said on the monthly time frame. This is not a good sign, the potential bearish cross on the monthly. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but there you go. Okay, so coming down to the weekly now. We're of course bearish here, we're ticking up, had a very notable tick down. Now we're pretty much just stabilizing here, but still generally bearish. The price action is, now we can start sort of drawing our trend lines and say, okay, well, we have, and I think it's important to keep in mind this trend line, because I think the horizontal support is, it's just very clearly pushing on this level, and then we can even see some consolidation just below this level before we finally pushed up. And once we did break this level with volume, then it was off to the races. Right, now, so we have that resistance up there, which I'm going to draw in red because that's how I do it. We have our support down here. And let's have a look at this price action now, touching the resistances and support. So, and also we can have a look at this one, actually, I think is relatively interesting to look at, the 7.5K level. So what we can see here is that we had a strong long wick, strong long wick, all right. Let's just say strong bearish action here, right, where we touched on it and just immediately just got thrashed and just came right back down. I don't think we spent much time, well, I know we didn't spend much time from the lower time frames, having looked at them at the 14,000 level. So the bears were just saying, no way are you going to take us to that level, coming right, getting smashed back down. Inside, a lot of indecision here. The bears took us all the way down, the bulls took us all like further up to the inside of this bar, suggesting a little bit more bullish than bearish pressure here. But then we came up just towards that level, didn't even get that, just got smashed right down. Another similar bar as this green one, where the lower wick is longer than the upper wick, slightly more bullish than bearish. We had an inside bar here. The bulls temporarily took over with a bullish cross of the inside bar. We had another, we just got failed, just got smashed again. Bearish, inside bar, pretty much bearish. The bulls tried to take it back, just a lot of indecision here, and then smash. So this was like consolidation with lower highs, higher lows, and we just got destroyed. We had another consolidation here. Again, not much to be said about these few little candles. The bulls really made a go for it this time, but it just, again, this trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, around this proximate area of this diagonal, approximate zone of this diagonal, that we just got smashed down with wicks. We're just not closing even anywhere close to it. And then we just came down bearish, no sort of pennant consolidation or flag, just absolutely bearish, and then slow bear, and then just smash again. So what does that tell us? That tells us, well, we've had this move, right? We can look at this as smash down, 1, and this took us down. Wait, this is not going to work, is it? Let's do it like this. Stay in magnet mode. I think we can have arrows, because that would be a bit better. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So we had a move down. Oops. This is not really what I wanted. So what I'm going to do instead now is I'm going to take this out, these arrows out, and I'm going to stay in drawing mode. I'm going to use the lines. So we had what I would consider a big move down here. Then we had Bam. Bam. Got a notification which I should be checking out here. Oh, that's nothing to worry about. Okay, so these lines are not really showing us anything too interesting. I'm going to take them out. But the point is, without showing it visually, is just explaining it visually. We had a move down, consolidation, consolidation, another move down, consolidation, move up, just grinding down, and another solid move down. So after these sort of strong moves down, if we consider this to be the first one, we had 1, 2, we had 7 bars before having another powerful move down. After this move down, we had 3 bars before having a move up. And now, I expect this to be anything between 3 and 7 bars of consolidation before making the next move. So I think that within the next 4 weeks, we're going to see a big move either to the upside or to the downside. And it might not be so big to the downside. I mean, if we just look at the percentage change, so obviously here, this was a 35% dump. From here, we saw a 29% dump. From here, we saw quite a big one, actually. 37%, yeah. So, I mean, these are quite steady, big moves down. So there's nothing stopping us from making another similar move. Maybe we even get to the previous high and have another 30% dump. It's really quite possible. Okay, but anyway, let's now look at, so we've looked at all of those important things. Let's now add some moving averages here. See if we can get any extra information. So we can see that the 21 crossed the 55. The 55 almost went bearish below the 100, but didn't. It found support there. And things are still looking bullish for the weekly. 21 above the 55, 55 above the 100, and 100 above the 200, right? Which was unlike here where the 21 crossed the 55. So I think we might find support if the 21 comes close to the 55, or at least we might see some slowing down in price, similar to how we saw here. Once it crossed bullish here was quite a strong sign that things were going to go to the upside. The 7,500 level is notable because we came down to touch it 3 times before bouncing off to the upside, and then we found support here again, and now we are there again, and it's like, well, okay, and now we're finding sort of resistance at this zone, right? I mean, to be fair, it's not exactly here. It's up at 8,000, but it's a general level, and certainly we don't have any closes above this level, so it's worthy. It's possible to rationalize that, you know, we found support here and then we broke through it, and now, you know, we're not necessarily breaking through it again. We're finding resistance here, and so this might take us for the next move down. And yeah, just again, you know, this is a powerful move up on the weekly, but you know, it's coming from a previous bearish market structure. It's not like this move up is followed by another, you know, whole bunch of moves up that we had, and this does look like one sort of major move up. Okay, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very clear 5-wave structure, and now coming down here, we would expect to see some sort of ABC, but that didn't work out. ABC might be that, or, you know, that's why I don't like Elliott waves so much, because you really have to just go into so much detail and it's so speculative. Now, are we going to find any support on this 100 moving average? Possibly. I think it's just there's not enough evidence to show that we will. Yes, we did find support here, broke through it. So yeah, we might grind this for a while before making another move down, certainly. But really not a lot to be said about there. Now the daily is where things start having a little bit more valuable information. We are bullish on the daily, although the MACD is ticking down quite steadily here. We have a potential double top in the RSI here, but basically just a consolidation here. You can see that after this bearish move down, we are resisting this many times. And basically the way I see it now is, if we come and touch the 21 moving average again, we're going to probably break through. Because, yeah, we've touched it 1, 2, 3 times. I wouldn't be too thrilled about what happens to it if we touch it another time. Okay, I don't think it's that super probable. I'm saying maybe like 55% chance or something. But yeah, also what we're seeing on the 4 hours is resistance from like wicks pushing us down from the 100 moving average. On the daily, it's a bit clearer, it's a little bit higher. And now, what can we say about this pullback slash consolidation structure? Well, I think this was a pullback structure, right? This broke bearish and now has transformed into a more like random noisy zone, right? Where we're just within this noise. And so I think the important things to do here are to look at the previous important lows, which are, of course, 7,100. And I mean, we have several lows here really to look at. These ones and this one. So on the daily, I think we can see that this is the previous low. So really, this is the most important one in the sense that if we break it, well, we're not really consolidating anymore. We're starting to go bearish, And then, we might find some support here, maybe. And then, of course, this is the previous weekly low. So this is going to be, again, more important. Right. Now, coming back to the 4 hour. And, of course, in terms of resistance, we have a clear high here on the daily to watch out for. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. From now, again, coming down to the 4 hour, you can see things are starting to go bearish here for Bitcoin. And yeah, honestly, I think there is some decent chance that we'll find support here and move up, for the simple reason that we've been in this sort of box zone, right, where we've seen most of the price action within here. Well, really, most of it within here. So I expect us to stay within this range for a while, maybe another couple days, just kind of bouncing around randomly in here before we move down. We're close to the major, sort of more important low here. We're a little ways away from the 21 moving average here. The 4 hour has a wick pushing up, some indecision over here. So I'm not loving this as a short position here. Overall, I like the position, and I think my average price is about 7,350 or so, which is okay. But and then the other thing which is worthy to note is look at this. We have this slope over here. Then we have the slope getting a little bit more bearish here, and then the slope getting a little bit more bearish here. Let's make these all in blue. So this is certainly a bearish, sort of leaning towards bearish, and we might expect this to create some sort of horizontal support for a while, but then, basically it's just getting more and more bearish. And if we go from the resistance, well, the most notable resistance we can find is very clearly these three extremes over here. I think we can even draw this in a slightly thicker red line, simply because it does very sort of clearly delineate these three highs here. Whereas for the support, it's more vague, right? We have this horizontal support here, but really we're seeing this sort of, we saw this resistance, these major resistances we saw from here was maybe something like this. I'm not going to draw this because it just doesn't, well, it does sort of tell us that we had this move up here. This was the first move which we were all looking at. And then this clearly was very steep slope. It was likely that it was going to break bearish, which it did, but it didn't necessarily mean that we're going to come for the next leg down. Now, however, if we draw this this flag, you can see it's a much larger structure, and if we break this in any notable way, in other words, I think if we start coming down to here type of thing, well, if we break below this horizontal level now, I think it's going to be pretty bearish for the bulls. It also breaks the 618 fib, which we were trying to hold as support before. Just not looking great for the bulls here, and I don't feel comfortable taking profit or any more of my short position here, because if we do come to these higher levels, I'm going to be interested in shorting, especially. I don't know what this line is. Let's check that out. Especially as we come up to this higher volume profile here between 7.4 and 7.560. Right. So we're obviously bearish here on the MACD, ticking down. RSI is seeing new lows. We're not yet oversold. So yeah, on the 4 hour, we've had this move down, and I think that just because it hasn't been, I don't know honestly if we're going to continue going down or if we're going to consolidate a bit first. But certainly, what's worthy to note is that we have this potential to create this sort of triangular structure where we keep on pushing down on the price here before breaking it. And notable resistances was going to be in this zone. So I don't think we're going to get there just yet, but if we do, it's going to be here. Maybe we see a touch on the previous high, in this box over here at this volume profile. So that's where I'm going to be looking to add to my short. The second we start getting up towards these higher levels, then it's less likely that this is a bearish pullback structure, and more likely that we're just going to go for another small leg up, or a big leg up even. So I'm looking out for this zone. If we break above it, I'm going to be more bullish than bearish, and if we get towards it, I'm going to be interested in shorting. In terms of the support zone, I'm seeing, really, I mean, there's not much of a support here. That's why I'm leaning more bearish than bullish here, is because where are all the major supports here, Oh, well, of course, that's true that if we go to the daily here, we can create a trend line, which is the one that I actually bought. Bam, over here. We did break it. Let's just take away the moving averages so that we can create this more clearly. So we had a break through this, and let's just check that we have it on the extremes. We do. So we had this perfect breakout pattern which played out over here. Interesting to note that this is not accurately drawn. Let's draw that. I think it's on the weekly, so on the daily it's a bit more accurate here. And you see that we broke below both of these lines with the wick going up. Perfect pullback pattern to play. Failed breakout test to play going up here. And I took profit on that. I just didn't want to hold on to the position after we sort of broke the 4 hour trend. I wasn't very comfortable. And it doesn't seem like that was a bad decision so far, because although we did have another push up to 7,700 zone, we've just been taken right back down now, and no strong reason to suggest that we are going to find support over here now. Now, okay, what we could do, of course, and I don't really like doing this, but I think that might as well, is just to draw another line there. I'm going to make this very vague so that it's not taking up too much space in the chart, too much visual space. And that is, of course, the connecting the previous low. So in terms of support, that would sort of, again, I'm assuming that we're not going to hit there right now, probably around here. That would make it around this zone here. So yeah, I'm seeing a big sort of red support zone, resistance up there. and if we break that, then I think we'll come reach these new highs. And I'm also going to get rid of this because this isn't really super valid. So we might see something like another line here if this is going to hold true. Like maybe we find some support at this level or something. I don't know, but that's yet to be seen. For now, we can see that this is getting progressively more bearish with these sort of with these lows coming in at this sort of graded or this this rounded structure, which which looks like it's starting to go either towards neutral or maybe later bearish. Who knows? But yeah, certainly I am leaning more towards bearish here. We have this pennant structure to watch out for, and we'll just see how that goes. Okay, so I don't want to go on too much longer for this. It's been pretty long analysis already. But in summary, yeah, we have this resistance here. We're just hanging on to the short here. There's nothing much to be said. Okay, we can look at the 1 hour, I suppose, although I'm not crazy about this. And yeah, all right. So on the 1 hour, we can see notable potential resistances up here. If we break that, then yeah, we might, admittedly, we might sort of see another bigger move up. If we want to do 1, 2, 3, or 5, this might be a 5-wave structure coming down. But there's no real confluence here, so I'm not really too concerned about the hourly. Now let's have a look at Ethereum, because Ethereum is actually a bit more interesting. So on the, let's have a look at the monthly log as well, just for some perspective. So the monthly, that's insane, isn't it? I mean, just look at that move. Just absolute craziness. Don't know why this is doing this now. Here. So 25,000%. 25,000% move up. So of course we saw a correction even below the 887. Although it doesn't look so big of a correction on the log chart, which is supposed to give you perspective. So yeah, exactly. It's taken out about 40% of the move. So it looks like the 618, like visually speaking. We didn't find any support over here, although we certainly grinded it for a little bit. We have this resistance now down there. Again, not too interesting to look at. Very similar to Bitcoin, massive move up, big move down, and now we're probably just going to consolidate for a while before moving on. Look at the weekly. Do we see any major notable trend lines here? Sort of, but I'm not going to bother drawing them. I don't think they're that relevant, although this one was probably quite relevant, and when we broke it, that was not a good sign. But yeah, okay, let's get out of the log. And we know that on the weekly, we're sort of in this general consolidation zone. Now it's looking pretty bearish. We have clear resistance to the 21 moving average, EMA rather. But on the daily, and let's just also check the RSI. I think that we still have, yeah, we have a lot of space to move down. We're bearish here, bearish. So lower lows, lower highs. On the daily, I don't know if I really want to draw these support lines here. It's pretty vague. What we could do, of course, is we could draw a curve here just to get an idea of the sort of general direction in which this trend is going. I don't think the curves are here. Maybe they're here. Oh, curve, here we go. So if we draw it from there, see this touches several times, and I'm not sure exactly how to draw curves, but certainly this seems to be like it's touching these points. But then it's like, well, how is this going to continue? Who knows? It's kind of fun to just play around with it. So you see, this curve could just do something like this, where we find nice support here, but more likely than not, we're going to see some sort of continuation of this curve, sort of get the similar gradient, if that's the word. And so we might find some sort of support down here, who knows. But yeah, we had this, I think we saw this maybe on the weekly before, this support here or that support, which just didn't hold. So overall, things are just looking very bearish. And now on the daily, we're moving towards the 21 moving average. But what's more bearish about Ethereum than Bitcoin is that the structure is much clearer. So what can we see here? We can see, first of all, the most notable line here, I think, well, certainly diagonal line, is this one. So I'm going to make that clearer, because that's showing very clearly to where the price structure is going. We have these lower highs over here. And then the most notable other line to look at, I would say, is this one. Now, maybe it's more notable to put this as a zone over here, because we do have a low below there. We might see some wicks action before having another move down. But again, the reason why I draw this is because now I'm looking to short as and when or if we get to this region over here. This touches the 21, the 55. I'm just going to fill up my coffee again. Oh yeah, I think it's worthy to go over my Bitcoin short, actually. So I'm just going to do that in this video. It's going to get super long, but that's fine. So I stop limit shorted here, 7,300. And yeah, I predicted that we would do exactly what we did. At the very least, I predicted this rather, that we would have this sort of 1% move down to 220. Why? Because we had 1, 2, 3, 4 touches here, and I figured that the fourth would just be smashing it bearish. So on that stop limit, I took pretty much all my profit, actually. Fortunately, I had it all happened overnight. Stop limit, bought there, and I had my buys laddered between 7,200, 7,220. I entered my short, a previous short, when we broke this. I think it was around the 7,400 zone, somewhere. Oh no, actually, it was a while ago. I don't remember exactly where it was. But anyway, the point is that I'm still in a short from above there, higher level. I did get stopped out a little bit, some higher levels, but then I also took profit a little bit down there. Again, I stopped limit shorted here, took some more profit here. So I've been trading quite actively, trying to get a good price in my position. And now I'm just going to sort of wait out the market, see if we create any new interesting structures, which will tell us something about the price action. Obviously, I'm curious what happens when we get back to this 7,300 level. Do we just smash through it? If we do, I'm not going to like stop limit buy or something. I'm not too interested in that. But I am interested in what happens if we get to these higher levels where we start getting closer to the 4-hour 21 EMA. Right, so that's that. And where am I taking my profit next? Down here, of course, 7,130. And in this blue box, in general, I might take some more down, all the way down to 6,900. But yeah, certainly things are not looking too great. You know, I'm going to draw this actually a bit more like this. I think that if we break 7,000, then it's going to be pretty bearish. Right. Yeah. Okay, going back to Ethereum now. Ethereum, I did the same thing. I actually stop limit sold below this level. It wasn't the most ideal level, but and I took a little bit of profit also down here at this, what I consider to be a major support, and we certainly did find support here. You know, we had several touches at this 44.5 level. And I guess there's a decent chance that we will continue trading within this range over here, between this support and this diagonal resistance. But again, this is not a strict line. You know, we could very easily expand it somehow like that, and this structure would still be very, very valid. And honestly, if we're getting real here, this structure could continue expand even further like that. I think if we cross this line, then you know it's pretty much game over. It's invalidating this pattern. But until then, this is what I'm looking at, these extremes. Yeah. And so I'm seeing resistance all the way up to there and support down here. And yeah, essentially if we break this support, so that's the other worthy thing to know. Another reason I shorted here, I think, is because I saw a potential support. And look at this. I mean, this was support, now it's turning into resistance. This is resistance. This is why before I made this video, I was tempted to short this already, because we have these two potential resistances that we're moving into here. But you know, they're sort of more, you know, we found support here, okay, a couple times, and then we broke it, all right. But now we're right back there again. Like, I don't know how I feel about shorting this now. I don't think that this diagonal line, I don't think is that important, you know, I don't think it's that worthy of attention. Partly because it doesn't take the extremes into account, which is this extreme here. And, you know, you can just as easily redraw this line here and find potential support here. So I'm just not I'm going to make this a little bit lighter because this is also not that relevant. So I'm just not too crazy about it. I mean, yes, there is some potential to find resistance here. You know, I'm in a short already. I think if we break this, I might get into some more. I might add to the short. But really, I'm looking for a consolidation into this zone here of this previous move up. So obviously the 618 would be great if we can get all the way there, although it also means that my current short will be suffering. But you know, these are the kind of levels which I'm potentially looking at, maybe halfway through that move. We'll see how it goes as and when the price gets there. I am looking at the 21 EMA here as well. So really not too much to be said. The volume isn't too impressive here. I think we might just have another move up to the 382. Might add some more there, but we'll just see how it goes. In fact, in general, I think I'm going to be laddering in on these higher levels, because overall the structure looks quite bearish. Why? Because we have this triangular structure here with this diagonal red line, and then this blue box over here. Sorry, this blue line over here. I'm going to make this a little bit more vague so that we can, yeah, like that, so we can see this structure more clearly. Where we come down to this support. A wick pushes us right the way back up. All right, pretty impressive. We have two closes right next to this resistance. Come down, sort of just consolidating. Have this kind of bit of support here. Break it, come down, and then we have a couple closes here, getting close to here. Smash right back up. Immediately get taken down. Come back up again, and we have a double bounce of support here. And now again we're coming here. So I mean, yeah, it just seems like this is a bouncing ball, right? We're having these lower highs, and we're coming down, and we've tested this 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So really, I want to ladder my shorts in all the way up to here, and then hope, or basically predict that we will not cross 150, and that we will come down. And this short position, you know, if we're laddering in, let's just say we get approximately this price, you know, we're stopping out. I don't know if I'm going to have a stop limit set specifically, but let's just say something like that. And we're going for at least sort of the previous lower low as an average sort of take profit. I would probably take some profit down here then some here, but really we can also get down to here where the risk reward is very attractive. So that's what I'm looking at, yeah. And you know, we've already broken this resistance, and that's why this support here, potential support, and that's why I already entered the short, because a small position at least, because you know the risk reward is pretty good here, and we have some evidence that this triangle at least has broken, right? This one here has broken bearish. So it's the first notable bearish sign on Ethereum that things are not going the way that other people might want them to go, or the bulls might want them to go, rather. Okay, well, I'm pretty tired now. I think I'm going to finish this video. All right, bye-bye.